Welcome to Mennie Talks podcast, talking all business, entrepreneurship, property development, finance and investments. Okay, Reece, Mennie here, podcast host of Mennie Talks, your host today. I've got a really exciting guest. I know we've had some exciting guests previously, but today we've got an ex-Welsh international footballer and a property specialist, Simon Church. Welcome.
Thank you.
So, guys, the reason that I wanted to bring Simon on today, it's a great story. It might not be so great for Simon as his career comes short as being a professional footballer after representing his country, Wales. But what I wanted to talk about is really, we give a value on this podcast for young entrepreneurs and people that are at a crossroads and not really too sure what they're looking to do. I've got a lot of close friends and family that have been in the situation that they've played professionally, and it's come to an end for them. And they're looking to reach out to somebody, and it's hard to find, isn't it?
It's so hard. I think, like you're saying there, they started from the age of 8, 9, 10 in all they want to be is professional footballers.
Correct.
They've been in the professional environments, going through clubs up to YTS or even your first professional contract. It's all you know. It's all you know about football. I mean, take my personal experience. I went throughout school thinking I'd be a professional footballer.
Yeah.
I didn't think anything else. Wasn't interested in anything else. I just focused on being a footballer. And I take my brother, for example. He came through the ranks with me at Wickham. He's a year younger than me. And then
is he still playing?
No, at 16 he had exactly the same. He was told he was too small. Got released, and now he's in banking. And it kind of killed the dream.
It's hard, isn't it, to come to that? And we talk about that in more detail a bit later, but let's talk about your journeys. You mentioned when you was at school there, and you only ever thought about being a footballer. We've all had that dream, and I suppose there's a lot of people listening to the podcast that went through school thinking, I'm going to be a professional footballer. The dedication. Because what I like to do and the way that we work is, you don't get anything out of life unless you put something in. And hard work, attitude, determination is a key fundamental for business and for any successful athlete, in my opinion. So just talk us through your journey. Obviously, when you was young, before you went to school, you was always looking. Was you different to other kids at school?
I think in a football sense I was. I probably didn't realise it at the time, but I used to play football quite a lot. I was always told, I was the better player growing up. At the age of 8, I joined Wickham Wanderers School of Excellence, and then at the age of 14, I was actually bought by Reading to go in at 14, to go to their academy. And as for me at that age, it started to become a bit more real. I was playing, against Colchester away, and the next game I was playing against for Reading. I was playing against Arsenal at Highbury. As a 14-year-old, you get told.
I bet that must blow your brain a little bit at 14.
Blow your brain, but again, at 14 years old, all I wanted to do was be a footballer, and I saw a path for me there. School kind of took a second step.
Yeah. Did your academic fall back?
Yes, it did. Yeah, it did. I would like to say I was in the kind of, I wasn't the cleverest kid, but I was smart enough to be in, a good level.
Yeah.
But certainly my grades and everything slipped. I had to put in a lot of work. My dad was taking a lot of time off work to take me to football training, and I was doing it 3 times a week and then playing on the weekends. So it took a lot of time, but I was so dedicated, and I think a lot of my friends growing up would say the same. I sacrificed a lot. I sacrificed going out, sacrificed drinking, doing all the things young people do.
Yeah.
I was going to bed early, I was eating the right things, and I was so focused on being a footballer. I think we were saying before about the focus, determination and will to succeed. I think I gave myself every possible chance of making it.
Making it, yeah. And well, that's something that you need to do, and that's that is a key fundamental. And as I always elaborate and we talk about, that's a really good point for any listener to take. Determination, attitude, and really what you do outside of that 9 to 5 is really what determines how successful you're going to be. So obviously 14, you're playing for Reading against Arsenal at Highbury. dream come true. What happened next?
Yeah, so I just continued my my development through to the youth team. I got offered a scholarship, a 2-year scholarship with Reading quite early on. So I knew that I was going to do that. So schoolwork obviously got put to one side, and it was just focusing on getting in. I had a really good mentor at the time who was my academy manager. Helped me massively in terms of doing things right on the pitch, but also doing things right off the pitch. And we stuck to that, and it gave me a good platform. When I was 18, I went and got professional games, went on loan a few times.
So when did you get that mentor? Because I'm a big believer in mentors, and I think everybody should have a mentor, whether it be their father, whether it be an outside influence, whoever it is. Most people should have a mentor to help them get on that path. Everybody needs coaching. So was it your manager that was your mentor, or was it?
Yeah, it was up to then. It was my dad.
Yeah.
He sadly passed away when I was quite young with cancer.
Yeah.
But on that stage, my academy manager took over in terms of my footballing mentor.
Yeah.
He taught me, how to be a man off the pitch and do things right, as well as do it right on the pitch as well. So he kind of gave me the opportunity to, when I was 18, to go out on loan. I was playing professional football in League One at the time with a few clubs. Made my debut for Wales under-21s at 18.
Very good.
And then a year later, I had a really good spell on loan at Leyton Orient. Came back and played in the playoff semi-final for Reading, and later made my debut for Wales as well. So about 19, 20.
And so you got your first cap with Wales. How did that feel? Going from obviously playing for their under-21s is a great achievement, to actually be in the senior squad. I suppose you thought, your career was made up. You was ready to do big things. Yeah,
that's all the way through my career. I never thought I cracked it. Like, I've made it. I've always wanted to play higher, and always wanted to play, the Premier League and international football. And I got that opportunity. I had a good spell with the under-21s. I scored a lot of goals, and then I did well on loan. And I got a letter from John Toshak at the time,
nice.
who was the Wales manager at 20 years old, and he basically said, I want you to come up and train with us, and I want to give you your debut. So I made my debut at 20 years old.
Who was that against?
It was against Estonia.
Okay. Did you score?
No, I only played 15 minutes. I didn't score many goals. I was a striker. I should have scored a lot more. But I went on to... I played that game, and then I managed to solidify my position in the first team. I was playing up front with Craig Bellamy a lot. We had some good performances. I scored against Liverpool.
And what was like being in that environment with international footballers in a change room, being close to them at a young age? What did you learn from that? What did you take from that? What was the difference from the mindset of working with them elite players at the top of their game, the Craig Bellamys, to the people that you played with day to day? Not taking anything away from them, but you've got two different calibre of people. Is it a mindset thing?
It's definitely a mindset, because when you're elite level, you can tell the way they train, the way they live their lives off the pitch, how they carry themselves, and the determination to win. From Craig Bellamy, for example, he's got a reputation in football, but he's a winner. He's one of the biggest, hardest trainers I've ever seen. He'll go out and work. He's had a great career. He's earned whatever he's earned, but he would always work hard in it. And I respected him massively for that. And even the players in the elite, when you make that move to international football and you feel part of it, your confidence obviously grows when you're accepted. But you have to prove your worth as well.
You have to perform. And is it like, if you don't perform, they let you know that you haven't performed, so you feel like you have to give more? That's how I visualise it. I visualise, if you're in amongst that team and you're not the weak link, but a problem happens and you're the person that's caused it, you're going to be told about yourself to pull your socks up. Is that really how it is?
Yeah, definitely. I think when I made the transition to professional football, and certainly international football, you get told from your manager. If you don't perform, you get told from the players. Yeah. But you also get told from the press and the fans.
Yeah.
Which is the biggest. Yeah, which is the biggest thing. And at 19, 20 years old.
Yeah.
Sometimes I can remember I was playing games and I didn't have a great game. You never have a good game all the time.
No.
And I'd have a look at all the stuff, and it was poison. I mean, for a 20-year-old, and it does affect you, and that's something that you have to.
Sometimes better not to look at what the press have got to say.
Yeah, definitely. You're never going to escape it as someone in that position. You're never going to escape it, and people will go out of their way to tell you what they think.
Yeah. I
mean, I still get it now. I've been retired 7-8 months, and I still get people message me telling me what I should be doing. Yeah.
What you should have done and what you haven't done.
Exactly.
And what you could have done. Yeah. So that moving on to that, obviously you've made your debut. You played. How many caps did you get for Wales?
I got 38 in the 8.
Congratulations, that's a great achievement. So from then on, obviously something happened that caused you to have to retire, an injury.
Yeah, it was a big build up. I had it since I can remember, probably from about 23 up to I played in the Euros with Wales. Yeah. And even then, my hip was really struggling. I was taking a lot of painkillers. I was doing everything I could off the pitch to try and give myself a better opportunity on it.
To keep playing.
And that was an amazing experience. I mean, to play in the European Championships with country, played in the semi-final. We lost to Portugal, who won it.
Yeah.
It was an incredible experience, and that's something that I dreamt of as an 8-year-old. Yeah. It sounds cheesy, but it's literally
it's a lot of people. Well, it's most young kids' dream, isn't it, to play?
And it
especially against Portugal, the likes of the players that they would have had playing on the day.
Yeah. So after that, I did have a long season. We were away for seven weeks, so we didn't have the cooling down period or the off season that a lot of players did. And I got a move to Holland, and then 4 games in, I played against Feyenoord away, and I took a shot, and I felt my hip completely go. And then it took me about a year to recover from that. I had surgery, and then after that, it was just a case of my body was telling me no, but my mind was telling me I can still do this. And when you get to that elite level and you know what you've been at and you know where you're at that time, it's so hard to push through. I would have kept going, but the surgeon turned around and said, look, you need to knock it on.
So you was advised to stop? Yeah,
definitely. I've got something, exactly the same as Andy Murray, so that he's been told to stop. He's had no choice. He's been in pain for years, so I know exactly how he's feeling.
Yeah, and so obviously at that time you get that news that you're trying to fight it, you're in pain, but ultimately that dream or that career, because it's a career, it's a job, but ultimately it's a dream of most people. So you're living that dream, and it's just stopped just like that. How does that make you feel? Like how did it make you feel? And if anyone just going through that at the moment, not just in sport, in football or any sport, but there's a lot of people that are in their sector working, and they come to that crossroads where it's just everything comes to an end. How do you get over that? What advice could you give to somebody that can relate to that feeling? How did you get through it emotionally?
To be honest, I had an inkling probably about a year before that I probably wouldn't get back to the level that I'd get to, but I'd certainly try and keep going. So I always had a plan of what I wanted to do after. Yeah. But until someone says, look, you have to stop, it did take probably
you didn't
about...
want to.
No, I
didn't want to.
I kept pushing. It probably took a month for me to get over that.
Yeah.
With my family, it's all I've ever done since the age of 8. And to be told that you can't do this anymore, and you're basically kicked out. So as soon as you leave professional football, you're out on your own. It's such a bubble that you don't realise what you're in. Everything's looked after. You're told when to eat, when to sleep, what to eat, where to be, what not to do. And then you come out of it, I'm waking up, I'm taking the kids to school, picking them up. I'm thinking, I've never done this. This is incredible. What's going on here? But I think taking that, after that month, I realised that football has given me such a great platform and a base in terms of mentally coping with the downs and the ups and the changes. We've had to move so many clubs. I've had to move abroad, and it just builds such a wall against any kind of negative thing. I've got to a stage where I've dealt with things in my personal life, and I'm so ready to
deal with anything.
And it's enabled me to kind of jump into property, which I've always had a passion outside of football with, but also business as well. We've got a lot of other things coming on, so it's exciting. But I feel so many people in professional sport don't have that other thing, that other passion, that other interest. And when they come out of it, you see so many depression rates, divorce, bankruptcy, and it doesn't surprise me because they say there's support, but there's not. There's not.
So it's about trying to help. Your business that you set up now is about not just sports people, but it's about helping athletes that are coming to the end of their career start putting money in areas that can work well for them. And is that how the business formed? Is that how the investment company come about? I mean, did you always, you mentioned you had a passion for property. Where did that come from?
It was actually my dad. So when I signed a 5-year deal with Reading, I wanted to go and buy, the flash.
A Lamborghini?
Yeah. Well, I bought a Range Rover straight away, and I wanted the big flash penthouse in the middle of town, and my dad was like, no, we're going to buy a repossession, we're going to do a little refurb, you're going to live in it, and then you'll move out and you'll start it that way.
So he's got you on the path of using your money wisely.
And which is great. I got a real passion for it. I really enjoyed, doing bits and bobs. I was terrible. I was painting it myself. I was doing all this kind of stuff. But in the long run, it lasted me 10 years, that first property. I've just sold it now, and I've made a fantastic return. It's given me a great base to build off. And
need to do.
I through the years, when I started getting bonuses and things like that, I started building up your
portfolio. And that's what you're doing now. You're helping people build a portfolio, do better for them, so that if these things do arise, there's always a backup plan.
Definitely. I think a lot of players that come to the end of their career don't have a second source of passive income or investments. I mean, in the football industry, we're targeted for bad investments. There's been so many horror stories.
Just buy anything, basically.
Buy anything. But as a player, when you've got a so-called trusted person that comes to you with this shiny investment,
you give them a go, don't you?
You don't look into it. You go, okay, that sounds great. And there's so many horror stories that have come from football, and we want to position ourselves to say, look, worst case scenario, if you're not interested in investing in property or whatever, just have a think about after football, because once it's gone, you're out on your own. No one cares. You've got to put things in place. So I think that's the biggest kind of lesson that we want to put forward to people in especially the sports industry.
Well, there's some great advice there, and there's a great story. If you was to give advice to somebody looking to start in business, from obviously you've started a bit, how long's your business been running? Just under a year?
Yeah, it's probably about 6 months now.
So it's in its infant stage. What advice could you give, or what have you gone through that's made you feel uneasy, or positives that you've had out of putting your business together now? What advice could you give to anybody that's sitting there thinking, should I or shouldn't I?
I think the biggest thing is fear. It's fear of what if it doesn't work, what if it doesn't. I mean, football has given me that platform to not fear anything. I've exposed myself on the biggest stage to loads of people. If it doesn't go wrong, if it goes wrong, so be it. I'll move on to the next thing. I mean, since coming out, I've gone public with our business. We're trying to help. We're still in our infancy. We're growing. I'm learning every day. I've also got other business interests. We've got a big event that I'm part of at Stamford Bridge in July, which is a football World Congress, which I'm involved in. Again, something that I've just gone. Let's go. Let's go. There's a gap in the market. We've got the contacts. Let's do it.
So would you say it's about, for people that are in business or thinking about getting in business, is just taking that first step, believing in yourself?
Belief and mindset is the biggest thing to anything. I think once you believe in yourself, believe that you can do it, put the time and the effort and the hard work in.
Do the research.
Yeah, you're there. You're there. That's the hardest thing, and then it's taking the step.
Yeah, and for any young, there's probably more young people that are wanting to become footballers. What kind of advice could you give to them?
Look, if I could tell myself at 16 years old, was to enjoy it more. Because I was putting myself under so much pressure but I felt like I needed to, because you've got to be so dedicated.
Well, pressure sometimes is good because it brings the best out of some, depending on what character you are.
Exactly. You've got to be dedicated. You can't be, think you're going to turn up one day and I'm going to take it a bit easy, because it's not like that, and you won't get to where
it's
you want to
be. It's the same as business, isn't it? If you're going to just go through the mill, then you're not going to be at your elite.
Yeah, but I think you've got to enjoy what you're doing.
Definitely.
And football, you know, I probably stopped enjoying it at the age of 23. It became, you know, this is it. I've got a family now. I've got 2 young children. I need to perform to the best of my ability, else I'm not going to give them, I've got a short window to do as well as I can in my career. Up to then, I loved it. Walking out in front of 20, 30, 40,000 people.
What did that feel like?
Oh, it's incredible. I mean, the best atmosphere. I've been lucky enough to play in some great stadiums, in some great matches. Played at Wembley and loads of places like Millennium Stadium, in front of 70,000 people, and
I bet you that's a buzz, isn't it?
Oh, in the tunnel before the game, you know.
Nerves or?
It's nerves. There's adrenaline.
Everything.
There's anxiety. You know, your mind's the biggest thing. As soon as you're on the pitch, you can't hear anyone.
Really?
You cannot hear anyone. I'll tell you, the only time I heard something was when I scored against Millwall, and I run past.
That wasn't from the Millwall supporters, was it?
Yeah. That was the only time I heard it.
Well, look, it's been a pleasure. We've covered quite a bit. We've a bit different from our normal podcast. You know, it is a business-related podcast. Simon has bought out a property company. He's helping people get on the property market, similar to what we're doing at Hunter Jones. We've had a meeting this morning. We're looking at maybe teaming up and helping each other with some opportunities that we've got. As Simon said throughout the podcast, he's got some exciting stuff coming. We've got some exciting stuff coming as well. We've got more guests coming your way. It's been a pleasure having you on, Simon. I'll speak to you very soon. Thanks a lot. So for now, what I want to do is thank you for listening, subscribe, leave a review. Look forward to speaking to you on the next podcast with some exciting guests coming our way.